I was liberated in 70 years ago in May 4th, 4 days before the war. And those 4 days made a big difference because those 4 days I wouldn't lasted out this. But lucky the Americans came in, and I said they came in, but unfortunately I didn't. After I came home, I thought I should thank them for they liberated me, but at that time I wasn't thinking of thanking, I was thinking more of food. But I want to tell you more episode because my problems, our problems started in our family in 1938 because I was born in Czechoslovakia, and then I went, then I lived in Hungary, and then I in Budapest, and then the Germans came in and they took us, well, it's a long story, but one episode I can tell you, they took us, the Germans took us in the wagons. There was the worst trip in my life. In the cattle, they took us in Austro-Hungarian border, and there we dug trenches and bunkers and ditches for the army, for the German army. Eventually they're gonna stop the Russians coming from the east. We didn't help them anyway, but I tell you, we have not just content with the German SS armies, but with the gendarmes, Hungarian gendarmes, but with the Hungarian Arrow Cross. They were worse than all of them. And these Arrow Cross, we used to go out to work in the morning, and then night we came back. And one night we were just in this, where we lived, in this shed, actually in a place there. And we came home from work, it was just, we were in this, we were just starting to down because there were 10 boys from yeshivas and the other night they downed and everything. And then from the door they came in 4 these Arrow Cross guys, and we were down and they said, everybody out from this thing and stand the line and bring your gold with you. And if you don't give us the gold, we're going to search you, and if you don't give it to us, we'll shoot you. So everybody went out, and I was down in there. In this still middle of Knesset, this guy, the leader, came to me, he said, what are you standing here? What are you doing? What are you doing? He said, I'm praying to God. He said, you praying to God? Look at what he's doing to you. So I really looked at him. I said, God is doing. I said, no, God is not doing it to you, to us. He said, who is doing it to you? He said, the Germans. I wouldn't tell him that he's doing it because I'm afraid he's going to shoot me. So I blamed the Germans, on the Germans, and the German, he says, how come you, he said, what the Germans? I said, the Germans are not just doing it to us, they're doing it to the Hungarian land, and they took everything from Hungary, and then I told him, and then he said, I said to him that he was listening, so I was talking to him, I said, you know, we have the same God, you are Christian, I'm Jewish, and God and the Bible is almost the same. And I said, and I told them that, you know, God installed in the human being his own image, and installed the evil, good and evil. And the Germans, unfortunately, took the evil side, what God installed us. And this what's happening now to us, and I don't know what's going to happen. And he said to me, he said, what are you, a preacher? I said, I'm not a preacher. He didn't even know he was so stupid. He didn't even know what a rabbi is or a preacher. He said, I'm not a preacher, but I said, I am just telling you, this is the thing. And he was so looked at me and everything, and then he said, go stand in line with us. And I turned around and he hit me with his rifle so hard, you wouldn't believe it. I fell down and I went out. And then something happened because I talked to him quite a bit, but I told him that the Hungarians, how they hated the Germans and everything. Finally he went and came out, and he went back and forth and looked at me, and sort of something happened when he said, looked at me. Suddenly he gave an order to the other three guys to put the rifle on their shoulder, and he says, let's get out of here, these Jews have no gold, and he left. So I must have some influence in him to tell him about the stories, but there is other stories to tell you about, because if I tell you the whole story what happened from 1938 to 1945 to Reveille, it will take hours. But anyway, because there is, you know, after the war there was 300,000 liberated from the concentration, there is 300,000 stories, and most of the stories are similar. Unfortunately, it was years which was very difficult to describe how terrible it was. I hope it will never happen, and thank you for listening.